All right, we'll start today lying on our backs, but let's come to thread the needle, get into the hips right away. So it doesn't really matter which leg you start with, but if you want to cross the right ankle on top of the left thigh. So some of us have really tight hips and we're already feeling enough right here. If that's you, you stay there. If you need a little bit more, you start to bring the legs in. And there's two options with the hands. You can grab the back of the thigh or top of the shin. Top of the shin is a pretty deep stretch. So you don't want to feel any pulling. It should feel good. You should be able to still press that right knee away from you, keeping the right foot flexed, and rest the head on the mat. Then eyes can be open or closed, whatever helps you start to slow down. Send the breath to the hips and land here on your mat in your practice. Starting to drop in. If you want to add the hamstring, extend the left leg. Keep pressing the right knee away from you. Bend the left leg, set the left foot down on the mat. Let's switch sides. Right foot comes down on the mat. Left ankle crosses on top of the right thigh. You decide which option you want. Either right foot on the ground, bring the knee in, wrap the hands around the back of the thigh, or top of the shin. If you did it on the first side, extend that right leg up. Bend the right leg, set the feet back down onto the mat. Feet are hip width distance apart. Grab the back of the head. So you could interlace the fingers behind the back of the head, or you could just use your fingertips up above the ears and then lay back onto the mat. So see, you'll notice the difference. So hug the belly in a little bit, press down into the feet and the legs so you have that support. Look up, take an inhale. On the exhale, lift the shoulder blades away from the mat. And if you're using the fingertips, you can find that support with the head, still letting it be heavy. Inhale back. Exhale up. And the elbows stay wide this way with the hands. Inhale back. Exhale up. Keep going. Stay with the breath. If the fingers are interlaced, that's totally fine. Just keep the elbows wide, head heavy. Next time you come up, stay up. See if you can pulse up a little bit higher and then come all the way back down. Doing that again. Come up on the exhale, up a little higher, all the way back down. Keep going on your own, just adding that pulse at the top. You come up a little bit higher, all the way back down. Last one. Stay up on that pulse and let's do some pulses. So keeping the shoulder blades away from the mat, really small movement. Keep it controlled. Keep that strength in the legs. Keep breathing. for 3, 2, 1, and set it down. Hug the knees in toward the chest. You can rock side to side. Grab the backs of the thighs. Let's take some rocks up and down the spine. And then you'll make your way to tabletop. Coming to hands and knees. Any way you want with the hands. Today, it might be nice to turn the hands a different direction. Maybe the fingertips point back, maybe out to the sides. And let's take some circles around the wrists. So the shoulders are circling around the heels of the hands. And it's up to you how big or small these circles are. Keep the fingers spread evenly and pressing down into the mat evenly. And let's switch directions. Come back to center. Turn the hands to face forward. Regular cat-cow. You can add movement if you'd like. Just stay with your breath wherever you are. Trying to let that guide you into the movement. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Last one, forward and back. And as you come back to center, come down onto the forearms. Start to walk the elbows forward ahead of the shoulders. Bring the forehead down to the mat. Keep hugging the belly in. Knees stay right underneath the hips so the hips don't go forward. Then lift the head looking forward. Start to walk the elbows back until they're underneath the shoulders. Walk the feet back, coming into a forearm plank. So press the mat away from you. Reach the heart forward a little bit. Keep stretching the legs back. So your feet are hip width distance apart. You could take them a little bit wider, whatever you need to do to get both heels over to the right. So left foot staggered in front of the right foot. Right forearm can stay where it is, or you can bring that right hand in a little bit, especially if the shoulder's tight, reaching the left arm up. So coming into a forearm side plank. So what's nice about having that left foot in front of the right foot is it allows you to keep the hips pointing straight forward instead of that left hip going back. Lift the hips up. So you're using those right side obliques to lift the hips up. And you keep that lifting action the whole time you're in this as you're breathing. You can keep that left arm reaching straight up to the sky, or you can reach the left arm up and over the ear. Scissor those inner thighs. See if you can get a little longer in the heels. Left forearm comes down to the mat, back to forearm plank. Keep the feet hip width or a little bit wider. We're going straight over to the other side. Heels go over to the left. Maybe that left hand comes in a little bit. Reach the right arm up. Find that scissoring action of the legs. Lift the hips up using the left side obliques. Keep lengthening. Maybe the right arm goes up and over the ear. Back to a forearm plank. Set the hips down, Sphinx pose. Tops of the feet down. Reach the heart forward, shoulders back. Then lay down onto the mat. Reach the arms back behind you. Rest the forehead down onto the mat. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. So you're reaching those fingertips far back. Press down into the tops of the feet as you point those big toes back. Then hug the belly in. Lift the chest up. Reach or bring the gaze forward. Forward and down so the back of the neck stays long. Keep squeezing those hands together. And exhale, release. Let the hands rest. You can even turn the face to one side, giving yourself a stretch in the neck. Forehead comes back down to the mat. Reach the arms back behind you. Press down into the legs. Lift the chest and the gaze. Keep pressing those hands together. Inner thighs spin up toward the sky. And exhale, release. Maybe turn the gaze the other way. Last one. Bring the forehead down, reach the arms back. If you want to take it a step further, you could interlace the fingers behind you, only if that feels like it's a nice option, and then come up. Gently release. Bring the hands down underneath you. Come back up to hands and knees. Take a quick child's pose. Bring the forehead down to the mat. Hips back toward the heels. Arms stretched out in front of you. Take it to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. Maybe pedal out the feet a little bit. Maybe widen the stance a little bit. Come to stillness in your downward facing dog. Step the right foot forward up between the hands. Set that back knee down. Keep the toes tucked though on the left foot. Reach the arms all the way up. Then cactus the arms. Lift the heart. Find that back bend. Then bring the gaze forward. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Keep lifting and spreading the chest open. So not so much of a back bend here. You should feel like that left hip bone's pointing straight forward as you lift the lower belly. Then bring the hands down to the mat, shift back to half splits. So come up onto that front heel, push it forward, reaching the heart forward. Back onto the sole of the right foot. Back toes are tucked, so lift the back knee, plant the hands, step back to plank pose, hold plank pose, or take chaturanga. Back up to plank pose, downward facing dog. Left foot steps up between the hands, setting the back knee down, toes tucked, reach the arms up. Cactus the arms, lift the heart and the gaze. Bring those elbows in toward one another. Gaze comes forward, interlace the fingers, other hand on top. Lifting the frontal hip bones, lifting the lower belly. Hands come down to the mat, half splits. Hips side by side. Back onto the sole of the left foot. Lift that back knee, plant the hands, back to plank pose. Lower down halfway chaturanga, up dog or cobra, you decide. Beautiful, back to downward facing dog. Start to walk the feet forward up between the hands, coming into a forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale up, Ardha Uttanasana. Bring the hands to the sides of the legs to give yourself a little bit more space. And exhale, fold back down. Last one. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. This time, inhale, circle the arms all the way up. Bring the palms together at the top and down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. With control, lower down halfway to chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhaling back, downward facing dog. A few breaths here. Bend the knees, look forward, feet forward. Step, maybe lightly jump. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing, bringing the palms together overhead and down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down, back to plank, lower down halfway chaturanga. Rise up to your back bend. Exhale back to dog. Hug the belly in, look forward, feet lightly forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to the top. Bring the hands together overhead and down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, hands down, back to plank, lowering down halfway chaturanga, cobra or up dog, down dog. Hug the belly in, lift the hips up and back. Look forward, bend the knees, feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Bring the palms together overhead and down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, folding forward over the legs. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat, step back to plank pose, lower down halfway chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Step the right foot forward up between the hands. Setting up for warrior one, but we're gonna go real slow. So hop that back foot in, seal that left heel down, keep the left hand on the mat underneath the shoulder, right hand, thumb goes into the hip so you can pull that right hip back. So as you pull that right hip back, it should feel like it's right behind the knee, and then start to look forward, reach that left arm forward. So you have warrior one legs, but you're keeping this low, long torso. Press down into both feet evenly. Keep hugging that outer right hip in and rise up, but keep the right hand on the hip. Left arm reaches up. Right hand's gonna be another assist. Grab the left side of the rib cage, pull it forward. Keep that bend in the front leg. Now reach the arm up, Vira one. So everything's squared forward. You're nice and strong in the back leg. Nice lunge in the front leg. And you're breathing. Interlace the fingers behind the back. So just like we did before, find that stretch across the chest. Keep it as you start to come forward for humble warrior. So legs stay the same, even that bend in the front leg, try to keep that there, or maybe you lunge a little bit more until the right knee's stacked right over the right ankle. Slowly make your way back up to warrior one. So release the clasp of the hands, press down into the legs, start to rise up, reaching the arms up. Same warrior one you had before, square everything forward. And then straighten the front leg. So keep reaching up. You're pressing down into the both legs and the feet. You're gonna turn the toes over to the left. So you're facing the side of the mat. Heels in, toes out. Just keep reaching the arms up. Maybe you open them up. Maybe the gaze comes up. Bring the hands together, down in front of the heart, wide-legged squat, goddess pose. Keep the chest lifted as you bring the hips in line with the knees, or maybe higher, wherever your goddess is right now. Straighten the legs, come back up to standing, angle in the right toes, turn the left toes all the way out. You're coming into warrior two facing the back of the mat. So find the length of the stance that you need. Just a regular Vira two facing the back of the mat. Stay rooted in both legs. See if you can lift the chest a little higher, making the abdomen really long. Left forearm, left thigh, reach the right arm up and over, extended side angle. Left forearm, left thigh, reach the right arm over, extended side angle, still facing the back of the mat. Hands come down to the mat, come onto the ball of the back foot. So now you're in a lunge. You'll want to widen the feet a little bit, set that right knee down, keep those toes tucked, reach the arms up. Anjaneyasana, just a low lunge. Cactus the arms, keep lifting the chest, elbows come in toward one another. This time, reach the arms all the way back up. Those back toes are tucked. Fire up the legs. You're coming up to crescent pose. Hover that right knee until you can lift it all the way up into your crescent pose. Bring the hands down to the mat. Step back to plank pose, Vinyasa. Back to downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward up between the hands. Find warrior one. Square everything toward the back of the mat. Then straighten the front leg like you did before. Keep reaching up. Turn the toes over to the left. Heels in, toes out. Keep the legs straight. Press down into the legs. Widen the arms. Look up. Then bring the hands together, down in front of the heart, back to goddess. Find that wide-legged squat. Rise up to standing, angle on the right toes, turn the left toes all the way out. Warrior two facing the top of the mat. Flip the front palm, reverse warrior. Hands make their way down to the mat as you come onto the ball of the back foot. Find that runner's lunge, widen the feet if you need to. Plant the hands, step back to plank pose. Side plank, roll the heels over to the right, lift the left arm up. You can keep the feet staggered, scissor the thighs, lift the hips up. You can keep the left arm reaching up, or you can reach up and over with the left arm. Hands come down to the mat, optional vinyasa, back to downward facing dog. Few breaths in your downward facing dog. Same thing, other side. Left foot steps forward up between the hands. Hop the back foot in, stay low. Right hand underneath the right shoulder. Left thumb, left hip crease. Pull it back. Strengthen the legs. When you feel nice and strong, reach that right arm straight forward, hovering over that front thigh. So legs are heating up, getting you ready to come all the way up. Left hand stays where it is. Reach up like warrior one. Then bring the left hand to the right side rib cage, pull it forward. Right inner thigh goes back. Then lift the left arm up, warrior one. See if you can lunge a little deeper in the front leg, but keep the strength in the back. Interlace the fingers behind the back, one finger over, open up across the chest. Start to fold forward, humble warrior. Take your time. See what's happening on this side. Keep that outer left hip hugging in, left knee stacked over the left ankle. Back up to warrior one. Reach the arms forward and up, slow rise so you use that strength. Straighten the front leg. This time toes go over to the right. Heels in, toes out, legs straight. Reach up, look up. Maybe the arms come out a little bit wider. Then bring the palms together, looking forward, wide-legged squat. Chest right over the hips, lower belly lifted. Elbows wide as you press into the hands. Come up to standing, angle in the left toes, right toes turn all the way out. Warrior two, you face the back of the mat. Right forearm, right thigh, reach the left arm up and over the ear, extended side angle. Keep the lunge in the front leg, keep rooting down through the back. Open up the chest. Hands come down to the mat, come onto the ball of the back foot, widen the stance to hip width, set that back knee down, keep the toes tucked, reach the arms up. Cactus the arms, bring the elbows in toward one another as you lift the chest. Then reach the arms all the way back up. Find that scissoring of the inner thighs, hugging in of the outer hips, lifting of the lower belly. Come up to crescent. Crescent. Hover that back knee. Rise up. Hands come down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Vinyasa if you want one. We'll meet back in downward facing dog. Left foot steps up between the hands, warrior one, facing the back of the mat. Straighten the front leg, turn the toes over to the right, heels in, toes out, reach the arms up, widen the hands. Then bring the gaze forward, hands come together, wide-legged squat, goddess. Come back up to standing, angle in the left toes, turn the right toes out, warrior two, facing the front of the mat. Reverse warrior. Hands come down to the mat. You're on the ball of the back foot, back into your lunge, step back to plank pose. Keep the feet hip width distance apart. Both heels over to the left. Right arm reaches up for your staggered side plank. Maybe right arm goes up and over the ear. Hands to the mat. Vinyasa if you want one. Back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, chair pose. Come all the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Bend the knees, sit back, chair. Exhale, fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down, back to plank pose. Maybe a vinyasa takes you back to down dog. Right foot steps up between the hands. Spin the left heel down flat like warrior one. Right thumb, right hip crease. Reach that left arm forward, hovering over the front thigh. Come all the way up. Warrior one. Reach that right arm up. If you want to take the assist with the left side rib cage, you're welcome to pull that forward. Or maybe just do it without the hand. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Leading with the heart, find humble warrior. Back up, warrior one with control. Straighten the front leg, keep reaching up. Turn the toes over to the left, heels in, toes out. Look up, widen the hands. Then bring the hands together, wide-legged squat. Back up to standing, warrior two, back of the mat. Angle in the right toes, left toes all the way out. Bend that left leg, look over the left hand. This time, you can do forearm to thigh, or maybe you grab the left ankle with the hand and reach the right arm over. The arm will be inside of that left knee. You can kind of press one into the other to keep the knee and the hip straight. Open the chest, get as long as you can on the left side body. Then right hand comes down to the mat, left hand comes down to the mat. Bring that right knee down to the mat. Keep the nice wide stance with the feet hip width. Back toes tucked. Reach the arms up. Low lunge. Cactus the arms. Lift the heart. Inhale, reach up. Low lunge. Start to work your way to crescent pose. Hovering the back knee and rising up. This time, reach the arms forward. Find a hover. Step that right foot forward to chair pose. Feet together or hip width distance apart. Reach the arms up, sink the hips. Rise all the way up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. Hug the right knee in toward the chest. Stand tall. Keep those hips level. So when you hug the right knee in, that right hip wants to hike up. Bring it down so it's next to the left hip. Take tree pose. Grab the sole of the right foot. Bring it high up to the inner thigh or stay below the knee. Bring the hands together in front of the heart. Press down into that whole left side of the body so that left leg is strong. Reach the arms up if you're feeling pretty good. Keep the gaze eye level, especially if you're feeling a little wobbly. If you want to challenge yourself, look up. Maybe you look up anyway. Bring the hands together, back down in front of the heart. Step the right foot next to the left foot. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Lower down halfway to chaturanga. Rise up for your back bend. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward, up between the hands. Left heel down for warrior one. Take your time. Straighten the front leg, toes to the left, heels in, toes out. Reach up, arms wide, look up. Hands come together, wide-legged squat. Back up to standing, angle on the right toes, left toes out. Warrior two, face the top of the mat. Flip that front palm, reverse warrior. Hands come down to the mat. Come onto the ball of the back foot. Step the left foot back, plank pose. Heels over to the right. You can stack the feet. You can keep the feet staggered, reaching the left arm up. Maybe you take tree pose. Up to you. Keep lifting the hips up. Keep those hips pointing forward. Hands down. Vinyasa, optional. Back to downward facing dog. Left foot steps up between the hands. Right heel down, warrior one. Keep that left thumb in the left hip crease. Reach that right arm forward as you hover, then rise up. Left arm up, or whatever you did on the first side. If you did that assist, take it again. Square everything forward. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Humble warrior. Back up, warrior one. Straighten the front leg, toes to the right. Heels in, toes out, look up, reach up, widen the hands. Bring the hands together, wide-legged squat, goddess. Back up to standing, left toes angle in, right toes out, warrior two, back of the mat. Maybe grab that right ankle or forearm to thigh or some other variation of extended side angle. You could even use a block. Hands down to the mat, coming onto the ball of the back foot. Widen the feet, set that back knee down, keeping the toes tucked, reach the arms up. Cactus the arms. Elbows come together as you lift the heart. Then reach up, keep the gaze forward, start to hug those outer hips in as you rise up to crescent pose. Start to reach forward, step forward, chair pose. Rise all the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Hug the left knee in toward the chest. Level off the hips. Stand tall on that right leg. Tree pose. Right hand can come to the hip as you get yourself set up. Bring that left foot up high. Keep the hands together in prayer in front of the heart so you can focus on squaring the hips forward just like warrior one, even though that left knee is going out. Then reach the arms up. Find your drishti if you haven't already, your focal point straight in front of you, or take the challenge of looking up. That left foot can always come down for stability. Bring the gaze back forward. If you looked up, hands come together, feet step side by side. Inhale, reach the arms up. Surya A all the way back to downward facing dog. Inhale up halfway, hands down, back to plank. Lower down halfway. Inhale up. Exhale back. Left foot steps forward right away, right heel down, warrior one, rise all the way up. Straighten the front leg, turn the toes to the right, heels in, toes out, reach up, look up, hands come together, goddess. Rise back up to standing, warrior two, facing the top of the mat. Reverse warrior. Hands come down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Take your time. Side plank, heels to the left, either feet stacked, staggered. Maybe you play with tree pose. See what's available on this side. Just keep those hips pointing forward, legs long. Maybe right arm goes up and over. Hands to the mat, make your way back, downward facing dog. Few breaths in downward facing dog. Right foot steps up between the hands. Back heel down, warrior one. Interlace the fingers behind the back, fold forward, humble warrior on the exhale. Inhale, back up, warrior one. Straighten the front leg, turn the toes to the left, heels in, toes out, look up, spread the arms, then exhale, goddess pose. Hands come together, knees wide. Take another inhale here. Exhale, come back up to standing, angle in the right toes, turn the left toes out, warrior two. Extended side angle. Take the variation that makes sense right now. Hands down to the mat, come onto the ball of the back foot, widen the feet, set the back knee down, reach the arms up for your low lunge. Exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale, reach back up. Start to make your way to crescent pose. Find the engagement in the legs before you start to lift the back knee up. Then reach forward, chair pose. Chest comes up. Come all the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Hug the right knee in toward the chest. Tree pose. Maybe you reach up, maybe you look up. Hands come back together, down in front of the heart, step the feet side by side. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up, halfway. Exhale, hands down, back to plank. Make your way back, downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward, left heel down, warrior one. Straighten the front leg, turn the toes to the side of the mat, heels in, toes out, look up, spread the arms, hands come together, wide-legged squat. Take an inhale. Exhale, straighten the legs, warrior two, top of the mat. Reverse warrior on the inhale. Exhale, hands come down to the mat, come onto the ball of the back foot, step the left foot back, side plank, heels to the right, left arm up. Hands down to the mat, vinyasa, maybe to downward facing dog. Just the other side. Left foot steps forward to the top of the mat, right heel down, warrior one. Left hand can stay in the hip if you want. Reach the right arm up, then the left. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Exhale, humble warrior. Bring it back up, warrior one with the breath. Straighten the front leg, turn the toes over to the right, heels in, toes out, look up, spread the arms. Hands come together, wide-legged squat. Back up to standing, warrior two facing the back of the mat. Side angle pose. Hands come down to the mat. Come onto the ball of the back foot. Set that back knee down, feet hip width. Reach the arms up. Exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale, reach the arms all the way back up. Start to hover that back knee. Come to crescent pose. Reach forward halfway. Step that left foot forward next to the right, chair pose. Come all the way up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. Hug the right knee in toward the chest, tree pose. Maybe look up. Hands come together, down in front of the heart, right foot next to the left foot. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up, and exhale, fold, meaning back and downward facing dog. Take the vinyasa or just step back. Left foot forward, right heel down, warrior one. Straighten the front leg, toes to the right, heels in, toes out, spread the arms, look up. Exhale takes you down to goddess, hands together, wide-legged squat. Take an inhale, stay here. Exhale, come back up to standing, warrior two facing the top of the mat. Reverse warrior. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Heels over to the left. Side plank, any version. Hands down to the mat. Last vinyasa if you want it. Back to downward facing dog. Once you get to downward facing dog, bring the knees down to the mat. Come to seated on your mat. Scoot yourself forward. If you have a block, take it with you as you come back down onto your back. And the block just stays next to the hips. It's just an option. If you don't have one, you don't need one. But we're coming into bridge pose. A block might be nice underneath the hips if you have one. Press down into the feet like we did with the ab work, then lift the hips up, coming into bridge pose. Stay like this with your arm variation of choice, or take the block. It has 3 heights, maybe the medium height underneath the hips, or maybe you come up so that you lift the heels and you come up to the tallest height. But it should be pretty obvious which one is accessible. If you can't get it underneath you, go down a level. Then if you're using the block, and even if you're not, lift and spread the chest. Keep pressing down into the legs. Tailbones going up between the knees, no matter where you are. Then you just breathe. If you're not on a block, slowly lower the hips. If you're on a block, you can stay right here. Hips down on the mat if you're not on the block. Take a couple of breaths. Come back up when you're ready. Another round. If you feel like you're ready for Urdhva Dhanurasana, bring the hands back by the ears. Come up onto the top of the head and then press evenly into the arms and the legs to come all the way up. If you're not on a block, slowly start to make your way back down to the mat. If you're on a block, stay there. Keep lifting and spreading the chest. Keep pressing down into the legs. Third and final round, if you're taking active back bends without the block, bring yourself back up, bridge, Urdhva, you decide, or use the block this third round. Wherever you are, start to make your way back down. If you're on the block, lift the hips up, set the block off to the side, and slowly bring the hips back down to the mat. Bring the knees so that they're knocked together and the feet are wide. And you can bring the arms out in a T shape or cactus shape, and you can start to move the knees side to side like windshield wipers, keeping the feet wide. You'll come back to center. We'll take a twist. So heel toe the feet back so that they're hip width distance apart or all the way together. Scoot the hips over to the left. Bring the knees over to the right. Keep the arms into the cactus shape or the T shape. And that gaze can go over the left arm. So you include the neck and the twist. If you change the gaze, bring it back up. Slowly make your way onto your back to switch sides. Bring the hips over to the right, knees to the left. Coming back into the twist on the other side as you gaze over the right arm. And it shouldn't feel like the tailbone's tucked. If anything, it should feel like it's sticking out a little bit. Bring the gaze back up. Come back onto your back. Take happy baby. Reach through the insides of the legs. Grab the outer edges of the feet. Maybe you rock side to side. Hug the knees in toward the chest. Set the feet back down onto the mat. Right ankle crosses on top of the left ankle. Come back into thread the needle. Bring the legs in. Maybe you take it a step further than you did the first time, especially if you took one of the first two modifications. If you have the shin, that's about as far as you can go. Although that's not true. You could, if you wanted to take this further, you could hook the forearms on this right leg and extend the left leg out in front of you. That's a pretty deep thread the needle that some of you may enjoy, but if you're enjoying where you are, you should stay there. You don't get graded on your practice. You don't get any points. There's no award or medal. So you should just listen to your body and whatever it needs. That's truly where you get the longevity of your body and the mind. Set the left foot down, set the right foot down. Let's switch sides. Cross the left ankle on top of the right thigh. Find thread the needle on this side. Go with the most obvious option to start. And then if you want to play with something further, you can. I'll talk you through that other option in case you want to do it and it's new. You hook the forearms around this left shin. You extend the right leg out in front of you. If it's too much, you bring that right leg back in, come right back to where you were. And remember, we're trying to cool down. So if you're in a position where it's taking the heart rate up, definitely back up a step. Start to release. Bring the feet back down to the mat. Lift the legs up, just coming into an L shape with the body. If you have a wall next to you and you want to do legs up the wall, you're welcome to do that, but it works just like this too. Arms can come out by the sides, just palms facing up. And if you can stay still, the legs can be fairly relaxed. If you want movement, you can start to move the feet around, rolling out the ankles. Or maybe you start with movement and work your way to stillness. You can also point and flex the feet. That feels good too. Bring the knees in toward the chest. Curl up so the nose comes up toward the knees. Keep the eyes closed. Take a big inhale in through the nose. Breathe in a little bit more air at the top. Exhale, Shavasana. Extend the legs out in front of you. Set the head back down. Keep those eyes closed. And here's where you shift around a little bit. If you need to lift the chest to get the shoulders underneath you, or use the hands to move the glutes down toward the heels, so there's plenty of room for the lower back, do so. And if you'd prefer to take a seated meditation, that is your choice. Come into that now. Either way, coming into a place of stillness, absorbing the benefits of your practice, and taking a moment to truly be still. Start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Take a deeper inhale in through the nose. Reach the arms overhead. You'll start to make your way over onto your right side, cradling the head and the arm. Taking a moment here. You can just be heavy, lying on your side with the eyes closed. As we slowly transition back. Take an inhale. Use the exhale with the hands to bring yourself back up to an easy cross-legged seat, sitting up nice and tall. Bring the hands together in front of you, bowing the head to honor and acknowledge your heart and spirit first and everyone else around you. Bring the head back up, blink open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you. Hope you have a great day.